Today we're going to talk about how to get noticed on LinkedIn. Loads of stuff to go through because it's a complicated system, but I promise you by the end of this little session, you are going to know how to get noticed. You are going to know what you need to do, all the steps you need to take. You're gonna learn about some myths, some things you've probably been told that don't make any sense or certainly aren't working for you. And I'm also going to talk with you and put some things in perspective about how what I'm going to share today is actually going to give you 3 times as much of a chance of finding your next job than actually all the resume submissions you've been doing into the applicant tracking systems. All right, let's talk about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one complicated system. It really is. I don't know about you. The folks that I coach in the Mile Walk Academy seem to be as confused as the other 500 million people on the site. And with good reason. They're constantly going through changes. They're changing the things that they offer. They're changing the things that you can do. They're changing the way people are finding you, how you're getting connected, all that good stuff. Now, one of the things I want to do today, a little story, just to put some things in perspective for you because I want you to understand how important today's lesson is. Back in 2004, I started Mile Walk. For those of you that know me, I came from the recruitment side of the world. Mile Walk is my executive search firm that I founded in 2004. We help organizations recruit talented resources. So it's the business services side of what I do. The Mile Walk Academy is my training site and my training firm. That's where a lot of you have probably found me. Now, when I started Mile Walk in 2004, LinkedIn was actually just getting started. I think LinkedIn was an idea in 2002. I think they might have incorporated in 2003. They really got going in 2004. So through the life of Mile Walk and all the recruitment that I've been doing, LinkedIn has been a very big part of my success and my team's success in helping locate people, developing relationships, connecting, and all that good stuff. And now it's a huge part of sharing my message. So I've been constantly working with it every day. I've been watching it evolve. I've been trying to stay up to date on all the features and all the good stuff that it offers. Also, along those 14 years, as I was recruiting people, I've interviewed an awful lot of people. I think all told, it's about 15,000 people I and my company, Mile Walk, have interviewed. I've personally interviewed 12,000 people. And of the people that we have data for, which is more than 12,000 people, we ask them questions, we collect data. I'm always looking for trends. Not only am I looking to evaluate and help match great people with great companies, but I'm also looking and taking that opportunity to gather data so I understand the trends in the market and what's happening. And one question that I've asked all of those people that's on the phone or in person, so this is not via a survey, is how did you get to your current job? So what was the medium that you used? Were you an employee referral? Did you apply on a website? Did a third-party recruiter call you? Whatever it might be, I'm always looking for what was the tactic and then how did you get there? And then the previous job, how did you get there? So I'm looking to accumulate this data for those 12,000 plus people. Well over 900 of them, almost 1,000, 960, 980, something like that, said, someone found me on LinkedIn. What that means is the CEO of a small company, a corporate recruiter, a hiring official, third-party recruiter, somebody like that reached out and said, would you be interested in talking to me? We're hiring, or would you be interested in an opportunity we have at our company? Whatever it is, they were found. They were found and they actually took the job. That's 8%. 8% of the people that I've collected data for got their job because somebody found them on LinkedIn. Wrap your mind around that. I think it was January, middle of January, I did a live office hours session. It was called Why Your Job Search is Taking So Long. In that session, if you haven't seen it, check it out. In that session, I talked about you have an 8% chance of being found on LinkedIn and getting your job that way. And that's great. Who wouldn't want those 8 points? That's what we want to work on with you today. But I want to put that in perspective. In that same live office hours session, I also mentioned that of all the applicant tracking systems out there in the companies across the world and all the people putting their resumes into those applicant tracking systems, you have a 97% chance of never being seen by a human. That means you have a 3% chance of actually being seen. Just 3. That's not even being hired. That's just being seen. Imagine, wouldn't you want to add those 8 percentage points, which is well more than 3 times the percentage of people getting their jobs through the applicant tracking system? And I understand there's demographics that come into play, but we interview a lot of different people across industries, across company types, across functions, and across salary levels. So we catch a lot of the market in that data that I'm speaking about. So I want you to understand that's why this is so important for you to know how this works. So that's the first thing that I want to say. Second thing is, let's dive into LinkedIn and how it works. And so I just want you to understand, before we talk about the steps, what is it in the way that LinkedIn operates that you need to understand so you can have perspective about why you're taking the steps I'm recommending. The first thing is, and by the way, this is not my opinion. This is actually research I've done that you can do. You can go right out to LinkedIn's website, and in the depths somewhere in that Kludgy Help Center of theirs, they've given me information that I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to add my own color to it, but I'm going to tell you specifically what LinkedIn has shared with us. That's you, that's me, so this is not my opinion. There are basically 4 things that LinkedIn wants you to know about how its search engine works. So when I talk about getting noticed on LinkedIn, what I'm talking about is you being found by someone who is looking for employees to hire. And there are many, many reasons people search on LinkedIn. Some are targeting companies, some are salespeople looking to develop relationships because they want to make sales. There's a host of reasons why people search, but for the purposes of our talk today, I'm talking along the lines of you wanting to be found so that you might be discovered for your next career opportunity. So when somebody is searching, LinkedIn is telling us 4 things. No slides today. I got some note cards. Hopefully you can see these. I scratched them really fast. The first thing that LinkedIn tells us is there is no, let me see if you can see this. There is no single rank. So the first thing that LinkedIn wants us to know is there's no single rank. What the heck does that mean? Before I explain that, I'm going to take a sip of water. So what does no single rank mean? Well, what LinkedIn is telling us is that there's no single ranking technique to their search engine. So to help you understand what a single ranking search engine is, let's use an example. If you were to use Google, we all are familiar with Google, I hope. When you go and use Google, if you typed in the Google search bar, and I watch some of you are going to go out there and type this right in, and hopefully I won't embarrass myself. But if you go out to Google and you type 22, the number 22, space, year, space, old, 22-year-old. If you put that in Google right now, from wherever it is that you're watching me, no matter how much or how little you've used Google, what you've searched for, what you've purchased, what you do, where you live makes no difference. On the first page, there's going to come up an article that says 34 things every 22-year-old should know. I know that because I wrote the article in 2013, and for a number of years, it was the number 1 item in Google's return search of 22-year-old. Now, I'm guessing it's somewhere on the first page right now. But all of us, whoever we are, wherever we are, if we type that in there, we're all going to get the same search results fed back to us in the same sequence. So that's a single search rank. It doesn't matter who the searcher is. It matters what the results of the internet are and the traffic on the article. There's probably some search engine optimization that plays a part, but for the most part, Google is delivering back to the entire world the most trafficked sites for a particular search. That's a single rank, uniform. LinkedIn doesn't work that way, and it wants you to know that. It says it actually isn't a single ranking. It's actually based on the searcher. It's based on the searcher. So what that means is it doesn't matter what your profile looks like. It's more dependent on what the searcher is doing, who the searcher is, where the searcher lives, the searcher's behavioral patterns on LinkedIn, what they do, what they don't do, if they search, if they don't search, who they're connected to, all that good stuff. So when you think about the searcher and LinkedIn tailoring its search ranking and results to the searcher, it's more dependent on the searcher. So if I go in, Andy Lasavita, go into my LinkedIn account, and I go to search for somebody with project management skills, and I type project management in the search bar, a woman is going to come up, and her title is going to say project manager in her headline, and then she's going to say, I worked here, and I worked here, and that's it. And she's not going to have anything else on her profile, and she's going to be my number one returned search person. Why? Because I worked with her at some company. Because I'm connected to her first degree. Because her email address is in my email phone book that's probably linked up with LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is saying, oh, you must want to find people who are closely related to you or that you've worked with or whatever. So I'm going to deliver you those people because I'm assuming that it's all about the relationship, the connection, and so forth. Now you might be thinking, well, there's nothing I can do about who the searcher is. If I want to get over to company XYZ and I have no relationship with that searcher. Well, that may be true for most people, but you're with me, you have me, and there's never a situation where you can't do something about it. And I'm going to get to that in a minute or two, but I want you to know that's a second important point that LinkedIn is telling us. It is based on the searcher. Third thing that LinkedIn tells us, now it's getting a little more Google-like. Profile views matter. Profile views matter. Okay, so what that means is how much traffic your profile gets is going to have something to do with where they place it in the search results when somebody is looking for a system engineer, a business analyst, an accountant, or whatever. So that matters. Your profile views matter. So from that perspective, it is like Google, where the more traffic you're getting, the more attractive LinkedIn thinks you'll be to the person who's searching. So that's the third thing LinkedIn tells us. And the fourth thing LinkedIn tells us is it's about keywords. It's about keywords, not keyword stuffing. We want your keywords to make sense, LinkedIn says. Are those keywords associated to those titles? Have you put in just a bunch of stuff? If you do that, you're going to make me dizzy and I'm not going to like you and I'm not going to show you in the search results. So those four things LinkedIn has told us. They've told everybody. So there's no single ranking. It's based on the searcher and the searcher, who the searcher is and the searcher's behavior. It's based on your profile views and it's based on keywords. Okay, so that's important for you to understand. Now, if we talk about, okay, well, that's all great and good. That's how it works. What is it that you can do to actually elevate where you're going to be seen in the searches when somebody is looking for somebody with your skill set, your talent in your area, or wherever that might be? Now, I break down these suggestions I'm about to give you into maybe two forms. One I like to call the static side, and one is the dynamic side. So the static side is kind of like do it, build it up, and you can kind of leave it, more or less. And the dynamic side is, well, there's some activity that you need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, whatever, however frequently you want to do it, that I think is also going to give you a competitive advantage from a findability perspective. So let's get into that. All right, so what are those? What can you do? First thing, this you've been told. Update your profile. Now, it may sound obvious, but there's a whole lot to that profile that you need to understand and how to fill it in. So when I say update your profile and complete your profile, what I'm talking about is don't be chintzy. Make sure the picture looks good. Make sure you got a nice headline. Make sure you're including important stuff in the summary. Do not blow off the summary. Fill in all the companies that you've worked for. Fill in your volunteer work. Fill in your awards. Fill in everything you possibly can, because the more data that you give LinkedIn, the better off you'll be. The better off you'll be. It will make associations for you if you worked at a company 10 years ago and you lost touch with your favorite buddy over at that company. LinkedIn might make suggestions. It'll do a number of things to help you if you feed it the right data. So the first thing you want to make sure you do is you fill in that profile. Second thing is a big honking deal, skills. Okay, skills. Skills are one of the most popular searches by recruiters. So when recruiters and HR people are looking to find individuals on LinkedIn, they used skill set searches. So they go into the search bar and they type project manager, technology project manager, SAP, Oracle, or something of that nature. Particular skills, maybe they're looking for an accountant, they'll type in the particular domain expertise, core competencies, and other things like that. So when you're talking about skills, some skills are synonymous with their titles, project manager, project management office, those kinds of things. You want to make sure those skills are embodied in the descriptions as you cite the companies that you work for. The other thing is LinkedIn also gives you a way to select discrete skills in your profile. So you can select project management office, so on and so forth, CRM, Oracle applications, whatever it is, cost-based accounting, all those good things, leadership, things of that nature. That's what I'm talking about. So skills are a big honking deal. Skills are a big honking deal. What's next? Connections. I got to read my own stuff. Connections. The site's about connecting, right? So the way in which you leverage those connections is going to be important from a dynamic nature. And I suppose it's dynamic in the sense that you've got to build those connections. But the important thing is build those connections, develop those relationships, request to connect with people. The more, the better. So let's not get into a philosophical debate about whether you should be an open networker or not. For job searching purposes, the more people you are connected to, the better it will be for you. It's just a simple fact. The only thing that's better than having more connections is having the right connection. If I only have one connection on my LinkedIn profile and I'm only connected to one person, but it's my CEO friend who I want to go work for, well, then I'm in Fat City. But if you don't have a lot of CEO friends laying around and you're not really sure how you're going to get into a particular organization that you should be targeting, why not connect up with the people at that organization? So it's one thing to try to reach into a recruiter and say, well, I want to connect up with the IC you're searching for this particular position. But wouldn't it be better, or wouldn't it be helpful at least, to identify people in that organization and start connecting with them? Reach over to kind of your analogous counterparts. If you're a technologist or you're an engineer and there's other engineers at the company, send him or her a message and say, hey, I liked your profile. I see we're in the same industry or the same market or the same technology or whatever. I'm always looking to build relationships with people who I could learn from and share with. Would you be interested in connecting on LinkedIn? What's wrong with that? Somebody say no? Big deal. You didn't lost anything. But if you can start connecting with people in the organization, if not flat out sending them messages about wanting to work there, but I think building up those connections will certainly help you, because that person is likely connected to the recruiter and she's looking for people and technologists and folks to bring into her organization. And with her searching, the closer in relationship you are to people that she works with, the more she's going to like it and the more probable that you're going to come up in her search. So before, when I said it's based on the searcher and the searcher's patterns, and I said, well, you can't really do anything about it. Heck yes, you can go and start connecting with people in the company. Just be thoughtful about it. Don't be reckless. I don't want you to blindly be connecting and you get tons and tons of rejections. I just be thoughtful. Send a smart, nice message. And I think you'll be, number one, you'll be building your network at a minimum. And number two, you're giving yourself a better chance to be discovered by the recruiters and the people that matter. Okay, number 4, standard titles. Standard titles. Don't be cute. This is not the time to be funny on your LinkedIn profile. When I see stuff like chief janitor, everything, butler for my CEO, crap like that, don't do that. Okay, that's just dumb. Put standard titles out there that are going to be found. So if your company is using goofy titles, forget that. On your LinkedIn profile, make it analogous with what the market will recognize. Remember, this is your LinkedIn profile. It's not your resume. I want you to be consistent between your resume and your LinkedIn profile, but feel free to take some creative license in the way in which you identify your titles, because if the internal title at your company is something that nobody will recognize, don't use it. Convert it to something that's that's analogous with what the outside world will recognize. So if they call the technologist something goofy, switch it to system engineer, network engineer, whatever it might be that people will recognize. So use standard titles. And number 5 on the static side is there's a tell recruiters option. It's new, tell recruiters. For those of you that are very actively looking, what I would do there is you can update some settings that you have. I think it's like front and center of your profile now, where you can tell recruiters, hey, this is what I'm interested in. These are my skills. These are locations I'd be interested in. Hey, I want to move cities. All that good stuff. LinkedIn has a recruiter platform. It's a pay-for service that allows companies to better manage their activity on LinkedIn, right? They want to appeal. They can sell these large-scale licenses to companies. It's very expensive, but recruiters use them diligently to communicate with people out there, to search and find people out there, to manage the communications between the candidates that they're passive candidates or active candidates that they're trying to recruit. So I think what LinkedIn is doing is they're looking for ways to actually give that recruiter more insight into the people. And you're getting kind of a head start. Another thing that you're doing is, I get a question a lot about, well, I want to move cities, I want to do this. It's a great spot to do that. So let's just recap it real quick. You got the profile. Make sure the profile is filled out. You've got the skills section. Make sure the skills are filled out. You got connections. Make sure you grow them. Okay, make sure you grow them. You got standard job titles. Make sure you do that. And you got the recruiter feature where you can tell them and put some insight about you. So that's pretty cool. So those are my five static suggestions. And let's move on to my dynamic suggestions. Now, one of the big things we talked about was profile views. There is no doubt in my mind that whoever's profile is getting a lot of traction is going to come higher in the search results. So what can you do without spending all day sitting on LinkedIn to get more profile views? Okay, so I've got well, depending on how you want to count, about 4 or 8 suggestions. All right, my first suggestion is share. Sharing is good. So if you see something that you like, an article, even outside on the internet that you read, share it to LinkedIn. If you see something on LinkedIn that you like, share that. You want a status update of your own something, write that, share that. Heck, I got loads of stuff out there for you to share. You can go share my stuff. As a matter of fact, don't just share from LinkedIn. If you're loving this, make sure to give me a thumbs up now and share this while we've still got at least another half an hour or so to go. But sharing is great because people will see that you're sharing. Your connections will see that you're sharing. They might potentially share it. That will cause them to start clicking on your profile. I do it when somebody shares a message that I love. Now, sometimes they're sharing somebody else's message that I love. I will go and look at that person's profile, look at both of their profiles. So sharing is a great way. We've got manual sharing that we do, and we've got systematic sharing that we do. The systematic stuff is a much more advanced technique, but pick times throughout the day. Maybe you do this 3 times a day. Maybe it's before you get into work, lunchtime, you make a share, in the evening when you get home, or on the train, or wherever, hopefully not in the car while you're driving. But just share. Sharing is great. So that's the first one. The second thing that I would say, this also falls under sharing, but this is a little bit different. Write your long form posts. So hopefully you know this. Everybody has the ability to go and write what LinkedIn calls a long form post. It's like a little blog post that you can write. You can write anything you want. Put a picture up there, you can put links in there, but LinkedIn is basically giving you a blogging platform. If you go out and write an article, you can share that. You can share it to your groups that you belong to. We're not going to get into groups, but you can share them to the groups. You can share them outside of LinkedIn. You can share them across your social platforms. It's great stuff, and it's hugely, hugely awesome not just for anybody who wants to become a subject matter expert and show their prowess in their particular trade, but if you are a college student, or you are a recent college graduate, or you are a career changer, if you are a career changer, this is a great technique to start building collateral about how you're knowledgeable on a particular subject. So think about this. If you go and you write an article and it takes you a half an hour and you post it today, and then next week you go write another one, you'll have 4 after a month, or you have 8 after 2 months, and you start circulating that. You can circulate one today, you write one next week, you can circulate the same one you circulated today, you can circulate that all next week, and you can circulate your new article all next week. You can do one in the morning, one in the evening, and so forth. Now you can start getting more traffic. But what it does is when somebody actually lands on your profile, or if you send me a resume, I'm going to go look at your profile, and I pull it up, I'm going to notice that, oh, wow, that person has written a number of articles on their subject. Maybe it's an opinion piece, maybe it's an editorial, maybe it's just a how-to article. But I'm going to look at that, I'm going to take note. I'm not going to read the articles, not usually, just for time's sake, but I'm going to get the sense that you've got some credibility. You know, you've got some street cred in your area. And no one can prevent you from doing that. And that stuff sits on your LinkedIn profile. That's part of beautifying your profile. So we weren't really going to get into that. But the fact of the matter is that when I land on your profile, I can go and I can see that you have all those articles. And that, number one, that's telling me that you're knowledgeable. Number two, it's telling me you're taking the time and the initiative. So if you are a career changer, it is one great way. Research up on where you want to go. Start writing about it. Don't worry. You'll be knowledgeable enough. There's plenty of books and plenty of research that are out there. And if you can at least do that, then you don't want that career change bad enough. If you're a college student and you're on your way and you're trying to build up and you're trying to get out of school and you're trying to get that first job, you can start writing those one a month for a year. Think about that. Think about what your profile is going to look like. Think about that. That's a big honking deal. So write. So make sure you're right. On the next one. Hey, I don't know if you guys can see this. Can you see this? Like and comment. Liking is good too. Commenting is good too. So whenever you like something or whenever you comment, in my feed, it says, Kara liked so-and-so's article. Kara commented on so-and-so's article. So what? That's great. Now you're putting yourself into circulation even more into the feed, and you're also increasing the likelihood that you will get found, people will view your profile because you are liking and commenting. It's the same kind of thing. It's almost like an automatic share. But I would still share it anyway. So liking and commenting, and then the last one is respond. Respond to your notifications. Respond to your notifications. So if you're sending stuff out and you're sending articles out, and you guys have probably seen hopefully you've seen my LinkedIn feed. And so every hour or two, there's a new article or a quote card or something that I will circulate because I'm constantly putting things out there because I want you to learn. But people will comment and people will like stuff, and that will give me notifications, and it will also alert me that, oh, so-and-so commented, I want to make sure I comment back. And you can adjust your settings in LinkedIn to get emails and all kinds of stuff. But the point is, if you're responding, the more action you have going, the better off you'll be. All right, so let's just recap the dynamic stuff. You want to share, make sure to share. The stuff you want to do is you want to make sure that you're writing the long form stuff. Make sure to do that. You want to like and comment, and I'm not very good with these cards. And you want to respond, So I hope you enjoyed that. But you can see that it isn't about just putting up a good profile and filling it all in. People are telling you to do that. That's not true. You can put a beautiful profile together and no one will ever see it unless you get in the right connections, you get in the profile views, right? Your keywords are optimized, the thing's completely filled in, you start getting some activity going on that profile. So I hope you enjoyed that. couple of housekeeping things before we roll into questions. I want to tell you a couple things that I just want you to keep an eye out for. Now, if you are out there and you are listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, I'm going to say so long to you and have a great week, and I'll see you next Thursday.